I am a silly man because for the past 10 years, I have been missing out on greatness. I have not read Witch Hat Atelier. This is a problem, my problem specifically, because I have never seen recommended videos, didn't really see many people talking about it over my journey with YouTube, and had a lot of people offhandedly recommend it to me, but I never listened. So in conclusion, I am dumb, and for the past 10 years, I have missed out on a wonderful, beautiful story. Funniest thing, I still haven't read it, but I do plan to. The reason I'm here today is to actually gas up the anime, because I watched it with some friends and it is absolutely exceptional. Through and through, start to finish, the story is captivating, the characters beautiful, amazing, super whimsical. There's like a dark undertone that I absolutely love. The magical power system and fantasy element to it is phenomenal, and it is gorgeous. Visually, the animation, the soundtrack, the voice acting. I'm actually watching it in English, which is quite rare for me. I tend to watch things in Japanese because it's just what I do. But hearing the English dub for Witch Hat, fantastic. Whoever decided to go with the more foreign accents, British, Irish, English, etc., it might sound a bit weird or off-putting for some, but for me, I absolutely love it. I think it brings a level of charm that you don't see all too often, especially for a fantasy setting where it works so well. Gives such a big range and volume of different cultures and identities and sound profiles that I think is wonderful in a world like Witch Hat that absolutely thrives in that magic. If you're like me, however, let me fill you in. Witch Hat Atelier is done by Shirahama Komomi. It started in 2016. It is a monthly story and has almost 100 chapters. The anime is currently releasing. I think it has like 7, 8, 9-ish episodes. It's animated by Bug Films, who don't have a large portfolio. I believe they worked on Zom 100 back in 2023, which was weirdly received. I don't think it was all too great, but it did look good in some instances before it kind of struggled and tripped over itself from what I remember. But Witch Hat is directed by Ayumu Watanabe, who has quite a big list of works that are very good. Over the years, people have recommended me this manga, and it's not that I've never wanted to read it. It's one of the stories that I've put high on this massive list of recommendations that I have to go through to eventually make videos on. I always see it, but fantasy stories, for me at least, are very difficult to get into. Mostly because I think the typical nature of fantasy stories are pretty repetitive. It's hard for me to get sold on them if there's not really much of a draw. Something being pretty artistically is a big thing, but still isn't actually enough for me. So when I seen all the Witch Hat stuff, I was like, wow, this looks absolutely phenomenal. I almost want to read it, but I'm just not sold as of yet. Funny enough, there was one thing that sold me, and that was the power system, or the magic system, I should say. This was the draw that I needed. Something that actually made me curious and wanted to engage with the story further and really want to dive in to read it. Did I ever do that? No, because I'm very silly, and I have regrets. Because watching the anime and seeing that magic system come to life in all of its beauty and horrors is so incredible. And also just showed me what I actually missed out on. I should have given it a proper chance and actually read through the first handful of chapters. So again, I have regrets. For the past 10 years, I could have been talking about this story as my monthly thing because I don't have a monthly thing. This would have been perfect. Witch Hat has quickly dawned on me of being a personal favorite. I love seeing everything about it, and I'm green for once. Like I'm going into this world, these characters, these powers, the beautiful nature of it all through the anime. That's very casual of me. Someone that is a big reader of manga and specifically makes videos directed towards manga, it's rare for me to experience the anime first. Part of me is sad that I couldn't talk about it for the past 10 years or didn't know about it, but the other side is kind of thankful. Not only because my friends and I have had such a fun time watching it, but also I think the entry to the world and to this story is so beautifully handled with the anime, which is what I want to talk about. Similar to the manga and like the very little I knew about it, I went into the anime not really expecting anything. Just went into it blind, really. And the first episode surprised me. Not only is it gorgeous, the anime is to die for, the visual aesthetic, the hard work and talent to portray this very beautiful manga, bringing it to life, giving it that soundtrack, giving that emotion and flair is so crisp and detailed. It feels almost criminal how close they're able to get to the insane artistic talent that is Shirahama. For what it's worth, I've seen some panels from Witch Hat's manga, and let me tell you, Shirahama is a different beast. She is easily, hands down, probably one of the best modern fantasy writers for manga right now. The amount that she's able to get out, the complexity, the detail, the style that she has for herself is ridiculous. And I'm so excited for when I start reading it to watch it be refined over the 10 years that she's had with this story. So far with the 7 and 8 episodes that the anime has, I'm really curious about the story, right? Because you have Coco, who's our main character, you have Queefrey, who's trying to be a mentor to teach her this magical way, and then you have the dark, eerie undertone for it, right? You don't really know what Coco is, you don't really know what really happened to her or how she was able to do all of this stuff, and it kind of reveals it to you piece by piece, but there's still that underlying element of why. Like, why are these evil witches called the Broomcaps going after Coco? Why are they obsessed with her? Is it something to do with her bloodline, or her blood specifically, or her family, or how she came into existence? This or that, you know what I mean? And it's a level of curiosity that they front load quite heavily. It's quite literally in the first episode where you see the sparks of it, and then throughout the past 8 has been just expanding upon it exponentially. Well, for me, it is the major curiosity for this story and something that makes me eager to dive into the manga. It's also propelled by the whimsical relationships of all of these beautiful characters. So Queefrey, the mentor, Coco, main character, and then you have this range of other young girls trying to become witches. They're in training, and they all have this flair to themselves. They're very different from one another, and I like that because each one feels like they have a very integral role to Coco's experience, someone that's very isolated from the world and suddenly thrown into this big magical soup, now kind of gaining what seems like friends for the first time, as well as companions and, witch acquaintances, having a mentor to teach her. Everyone has their own path to what they think witch and magical drawings are meant to be and what it means to them specifically. So they butt heads here and there, but they start to grow along and they really kind of conform to the sisterhood of witches, which I think is really pretty. It's a slow attempt at it, but one that I think chisels away with more and more time. The more experiences that they go through, the more things that they understand, the more difficulties that they potentially face together, the closer they become. Part of the anime that becomes more compelling with these girls is their voice actors. Insane. So Coco has what I would say the standard main character accent, right? Which is a little bit of a letdown, but it makes sense. Queefrey, phenomenal. I looked at the list of what this man has worked on and what some of the other voice actors have worked on. Very little. Some not even having really a page dedicated to anything. And I think they've done a phenomenal job in providing variety. Queefrey's voice actor, I believe, is the villain of Lord of the Mysteries. I haven't seen that either, but I do want to watch it. Now that I know that he's in it, I may give it a chance. I think he does a brilliant job as Queefrey, not only in the playful tone that Queefrey brings, but then the unpredictable darkness that comes across, which again throws a whole tool in the workshop of why is he like this? What is going on? What is he trying to accomplish? Funneling back into the eerie undertone of what Witch Hat could potentially be about. The girls have a great range between them. This one reminds me of Chalice from YouTube, if you know, you know. This one is fantastic. This little fella, a bit odd in the English, I actually prefer the Japanese, but still very cute. And this one, I'm not entirely sold on. I think the voice work is great. I just don't think, for me, it personally fits with the other girls, or even just the nature of the story. It feels a little bit too excessive, which is funny because I actually enjoy the English, British, what I assume to be is Irish kind of flair coming out underneath. I don't know if that is the natural accent of the voice actor herself, or if it's a take that they decided to go with, but there's some times where it feels like the accent slips through, and I enjoy that better than what the actual sound profile is. So overall between them though, love it. There's this character, he's got a really nice voice. There's these two characters, love their voices. Even the Broomcap guy. The VAs in English, fantastic. I tried to watch it in Japanese and it just didn't have the same pull for me. I felt a bit jaded. If I watched this in Japanese first, I wouldn't have known about the exceptional world building and just love that has gone into the English voice cast. And that's not to downplay the nature of English dub for anime. It's just something I don't really find myself dwelling in. I tend to just stick to the Japanese or whatever's more accessible, but this time, Witch Hat has sold me. Animation-wise, the meathead side of me is really excited to see how this story kind of evolves into fights and whatnot. And I don't expect it to be like the main draw of what Witch Hat is about. I don't expect big, crazy JJK or Hunter x Hunter or even Freerun level of fights, right? But if there is fights, it makes me wonder what it would look like, especially with this type of animation. Because there is a moment in here where Queefree summons like a dragon to fight another dragon, and that whole sequence is ridiculous. Easily, so far, probably one of the best sequences of the year. I'm watching that and I'm like, wow, what would this look like in a fight? And that's just the meathead coming out of me. Like, how crazy would that go? I'm excited to see if there's any of that in the future, but I'm not disappointed if it shies away from it entirely. I understand this isn't selling itself to be some sort of big action-orientated fantasy story, but I'm curious nonetheless. This is all to say that Witch Hat has genuinely surprised me. I've loved every moment of the anime. I'm looking forward to watching it every single week, and I am so excited to read the manga. I plan to binge it very soon, and of course, you can expect a full video of me talking about the manga and realizing how even more stupid I was for not reading it sooner. For now though, hopefully this may quench your thirst. If you're a Witch Hat lover or fan, I'm sold, I'm on board, you'll see more from me eventually. I would love to talk about more of this story in detail, just give me some time to read the manga. If you haven't read or watched it, please do give it a chance. You will fall in love with these characters, with this world. It is a story to die for, and I will now stand by that. Thank you for watching, thank you for putting up with my ignorance. Leave a like and subscribe, I would appreciate it, and I will see you all in the next video. Mwah.